It is the 26th of October. This is the PFF Forecast. Post crazy-ass Sunday night football game. We're going to talk a little bit about that, a couple of takeaways from today, and then get into Week 8 and look headlines for that. Let's rock. I have a strong opinion on that game. So first off, it wasn't supposed to be a Sunday night game, right? It was supposed to be an afternoon game.
Flex them all. Flex all Seahawks games into Sunday
flexed
nights.
in, and here's the funny thing. Everyone was kind of bummed. It's like, well, Arizona, they didn't look that great, even though they won against Dallas. Plus, from a network standpoint, it's like, man, they don't rate well going against the World Series. That game was by far the best game of the season thus far, and way better than the Bucs game. But here's my takeaway from that game. This is why there is a big difference between Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes. Russell Wilson's detriment today, he held onto the ball and took sacks and then threw some passes where you just go like, Mahomes doesn't make those throws.
100%. If Wilson is in that game today against Denver in the snow, that game's close. Because he keeps both teams in that game, right? Like interceptions, all that kind of stuff. Mahomes didn't play well today.
Well, they had Le'Veon Bell.
They did. He looked really good on that run.
Please give him some credit.
But he didn't play well. He didn't play well today, but he didn't do anything stupid. Wilson did a bunch of stupid things. Like, the interception to Patrick Peterson is like the fifth dumbest thing he did in that game.
That's right. And if it wasn't, to be honest, if it wasn't for DK Metcalf being a superhuman, crazy freakazoid, that game,
that play and the subsequent stop by Seattle was worth 20 win. You got 20 win probability points for free because of a superhuman effort by one of your players and a good stop by your defense, which sucks. How many times did Arizona punt today?
You're lucky that Secretariat put on a freaking Seahawks jersey for the game. So that was the first thing that I took away from it, and it's something that we talk about a lot, which is Russell Wilson's throws, and we saw this game was a perfect encapsulation of that. He had so many big-time throws. Chris said moonshot or moonball like 25 times in the broadcast because he did throw a bunch of amazing passes. But what doesn't get captured in passer rating all the time are these negative plays that are sacks, right? When you hold on the ball for a while. Arizona has no pass rush.
Yeah.
And he took a couple of sacks where you're like, Hassan Reddick, are you kidding me, buddy?
Yeah.
So that was, man.
I'll say this, like a couple things today that really stood out. A couple Oklahoma quarterbacks who I think.
Wait, hold on. Are you moving on from this game?
No, I'm moving. Look, we had our doubts about Kyler Murray. And
what did you think?
And while I don't think this answers all the doubts, just like beating the Bengals doesn't tell me that
there's a big difference though between going head to head with Russell Wilson on Sunday Night Football and beating the Bengals at 1:00.
Sure, but I will say this: Burrow played extremely well. Well, Burrow got lucky enough to put up a game that looked like it was good on the other side, right? The Bengals scored on a decent number of drives, aided by the dropped interceptions by Cleveland. But Baker, it wasn't as though Baker played an offense that averaged 2 yards per play, right? Like they had to go up and down the field on each other. Okay. But I will say Murray, I'm looking at his grade right now. It's kind of, because
we'll see how it ends up tomorrow.
But at this, going into the game, he wasn't the most impressive thing in the world, even though they were 4-2.
20th in yards per attempt.
Yeah, and today, and he still wasn't. When you look at the whole thing, still just 7.2 yards per attempt, 9 ADOT though, which is really good for him. This was a good week for those quarterbacks, right? A good week. Obviously, Herbert stepped up and performed too. So I thought, a good week for some young quarterbacks who we were maybe a little skeptical on.
Okay. Now I'm going to take, because I think I agree. And you do a really good job at tempering expectations, saying they're encouraging, they're not good yet, yada, yada, yada.
Mayfield's the one that curbed me on this.
Okay, right? Let me give you, and for what it's worth, I am not taking any stock in beating the Bengals at 1 p.m. I'm just not. I'm sorry. I know
even with your best receiver out and.
Okay, Ewing theory. I think it helped. I'm not even kidding.
It could have. I mean,
we'll get to Cleveland in a
Kareem
second.
Hunt's a really good running back.
There's a much bigger storyline brewing. And here's what it is. You talked about young quarterbacks.
Oh.
It's an old quarterback. You know who has just entered the MVP discussion?
Brady?
Tom motherfucking Brady.
Well, and
has entered the MVP conversation, and rightfully so. Leads the league in big time throws.
Yeah.
Is probably going to end up, easily, I think, top 3, but it's going to be real close in terms of PFF grade between the 3. And they put a can of whoop ass on the Las Vegas Raiders.
It was great. It was something where now the game got a little closer in the second half. It got to 24-20, but it really never felt like the Raiders were a threat. The defense, I thought, played really well. And Brady, when he has his full complement of players, I mean, you're talking about a guy 9.9 ADOT, 3 big-time throws, just 1 turnover-worthy play. His offense, to his credit, just 1 drop. And to your point about quarterbacks, we also saw 2 older quarterbacks, even in addition to Brady, play well. Drew Brees played a very good game today. When you look at 82% completion, 2 touchdowns, he went toe-to-toe with without his best receivers in Sanders and Thomas, and then Matthew Stafford. It's funny because we liked the over in that game. Both quarterbacks had above an 80 grade, and that game only got to 45 as a total.
The only 2 teams that could have been productive on offense from a yardage standpoint, both quarterbacks play well and got under a total were the Lions and the Falcons.
That's what we've said in both. Like all the content the last 3 shows.
That's how we avoided that being the lock of the week.
Because they ran the ball to Adrian Peterson and Todd. And I joked about this with you in Austin earlier. It's just like, can somebody just put Todd Gurley down? Like put him on IR so there's no threat to run. Because, dude, it's the most excruciating thing.
Asking Todd Gurley to get to the edge is like asking me to dunk a basketball.
Yeah,
it just ain't going to happen, buddy.
It's just not. It's just not.
So I want to, up until this game happened, the biggest story today was something that I need to give you a ton of credit for. And I offered to bet you this earlier in the week. You said no, but then you came back strong. And this was one of the best calls you've had in a long time. That was the San Francisco 49ers being way undervalued. And Kyle Shanahan being equally, I believe were your words, equivalent in genius on the offensive side to Bill Belichick on the defensive side. And they absolutely worked.
Well, and people took that. Now, it's the first time in my career I've gotten people messaging me on Instagram about football.
Congratulations. About football.
Because you guys posted it, and usually I don't get
Do you think you're going to become an IG model
I'm
soon?
Good. I'm good. But I wasn't saying that obviously Shanahan hasn't won the Super Bowls, and obviously he is not. His career doesn't hold a candle to Belichick.
You're talking about him right now.
I'm talking about betting this one game.
Yep.
And I tweeted this out. I said, look, the best defensive mind in the history of football, his defense is getting dragged up and down the field by a quarterback. I mean, in that game, the quarterbacks combined for 0 touchdowns and 6 interceptions. Garoppolo ended up coming out of the game with a decent grade because he only had 5 incompletions, but 2 of them were picks. He had 11. Look, he had 11.1 yards per attempt on 5.8 ADOT.
Kyle Shanahan, both of us have said this repeatedly. He is an absolute wizard. Now, I was more bullish on Cam Newton. That was really where I went wrong. And you said earlier today on the live show or after the live show, no one is right about Cam Newton. There are a bunch of racist motherfuckers that hate him. And there are a bunch of people that just stand for him regardless.
There are people who saw him not go after that fumble in the Super Bowl and called him now his true colors are showing. Right. Those people are idiots, okay? Yep. They're dumb. Cam Newton's the MVP of the league that year. He doesn't suck. But the people that think the people that were ready to crucify Ryan Pace, granted, it was a dumb move not to sign Cam, but it honestly was not the dumbest move in the history of football.
No, that would be trading up to pick Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, exactly. There are a number of things to rip Ryan Pace for.
Or trading for Khalil Mack.
Or trading for Nick Foles. I mean, all these things.
Yes.
But not signing Teddy Bridgewater, right?
Instead of signing Cam or Teddy.
Can you imagine if Bridgewater was the Bears? Like if they would have, and all they had to do was basically say, "Look, you were going to be the starter."
Well, right, but he wouldn't have had Joe Brady anywhere else.
Yeah, that's a good point. Joe Brady is excellent.
Brady's great.
Okay.
So now let me say this about Cam Newton, because people are going to jump to crucify him again, and I have a couple of questions for you. So the first is the Seahawks game. Now the Seahawks defense clearly sucks, right? But we saw him making throws. Now he looked at least as good as Kyler Murray did in that game, right? And Julian Edelman dropped what could have been a winning touchdown pass. Since that game, Julian Edelman has, I think, 7 catches. He had 8 in that game or something like that. Yeah. He is, as they mentioned on the broadcast, banged up. Okay, he's their only receiver. Number 2, do you think there's a chance that this is
like COVID related?
A little COVID
like he's
related.
Like sick? I could see. I mean, he's a bigger guy, right? He's had. Look, Raquel Armstead for the Jacksonville Jaguars literally has to sit out the year and has been in the hospital twice for COVID. Like, this is not a trivial thing.
I mean, apparently he was asymptomatic,
but my whole point to everybody today on the show was, and it was partially my point the other day about the Patriots. This isn't really a Cam issue. Because Cam's at the point of his career where you need to put together the first 7 weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks of 2018 for him to be successful. He probably would be successful in Joe Brady's offense in Carolina.
Well, so would I.
But the problem is the Patriots' offense was garbage last year, and the only real thing that they did was trade out quarterbacks.
Well, but
they decreased their quarterback.
So here's a question that I have for you: would you place some of the blame on Josh McDaniels? Because here's what happened in their first 3 drives today. You know how many designed rushing attempts they had for Cam Newton? 1. And if the whole premise of them bringing in Cam Newton with receivers that couldn't separate from a traffic cone is that you allow his rushing to be the focal point of your offense. Yeah. But how you come out and not leverage that to start the game is beyond me now. So I looked at it and I was like, oh, I wonder if they just didn't run last week either. No, they actually did. He only picked up, I think it was like 26 yards or something like that. But there's something weird going on in New England. It might just be the weird stuff that happens every year, but this feels different because Brady's not there and Brady's over in Tampa Bay throwing seeds.
Well, I think part of it is
Brady was clearly very good last year and the Patriots sucked.
Yes. I think part of it is that they might just not be trying to win anymore.
Wow.
Because you look up, you have a worse record. You have a worse record than the Miami Dolphins currently. Mm-hmm. You have a worse record than Buffalo, who, by the way, gave the Jets their first cover today. You're in an AFC where there are 3 teams in the AFC North, with 5 wins or more. You have an AFC South where I think 2 teams will make the playoffs. So there's not really even a wild card in the AFC East unless one of these teams folds. And Indianapolis isn't really in a position to fold. Tennessee, we saw them in a game where they played like shit. Basically, they still fight back, right? Like they're not a brilliant team, but they're good enough to make the playoffs in this AFC. And then the North is 3, I would say, pretty good. 2 really good teams and a pretty good team. And then still the Dolphins. Like, are you better than the Dolphins?
Well, no.
So
they're not.
So what?
I mean, maybe with Tua they are.
So what's the long game here? The long game is, okay, there are 3 outcomes for this season. You have a good year, which I think that their schedule is extremely hard moving forward, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they've already had the hardest schedule in the NFL entering today.
Right.
Which was one of the reasons that I thought maybe they were being a little undervalued.
Yeah, so if you look at their schedule, they have like the 12th hardest schedule. So it's not trivial.
Play the Bills next week. We're going to talk about that in a second.
Exactly. So there are 3 outcomes. A good finish, you make the playoffs, all that kind of stuff. But does that really interest Belichick to make the playoffs and not really? Last year there was like the allure of possibly running the table up to 12
Hey, let me say this. Tom Brady is in the MVP discussion. You're damn straight Bill Belichick wants to make the playoffs.
But Tom Brady doesn't give a crap if the Patriots make a wild card and lose to the first round of the Colts.
But Bill Belichick's a competitive motherfucker.
Yeah, he's looking.
I've said motherfucker now
Yeah.
3 times on the podcast.
Sorry, Austin, for all the emails.
It's
you're gonna
late.
Get. But my thing is how much longer does Brady have? 2 years, 3 years?
The way he's throwing the ball, he'll be out there till he's 50.
So Belichick wants to compete with Brady for the next 5 to 10 years.
Sure,
and he wants to be winning Super Bowls when Brady's.
You're a former athlete, current athlete. You know, like you're out there in a moment. And you go, I'm trying to win right now.
But Bill didn't put this team together to win. Look, they had all these opt-outs. They had the most opt-outs the most quickly in the entire NFL.
So what? He's going to bench Cam and go to Jared Stidham?
They traded back in the first round, right?
But you do that every year.
They traded back in the first round and fleeced, to get the Mohamed Sanu pick back, and they signed Cam. Here's the thing. If Cam blows up and the Patriots go 10-6, like
that's still a possibility.
It's still a possibility, but he's going to be worth what, $25 million to them next year? Mm-hmm. What if they shut Cam down and finish 4-12, 5-11, and they can bring Cam back for $12 million a year, or draft a guy high. Like I feel like being bad gives the Patriots so much more flexibility than being okay does.
Well, we both agree on that. I'm just trying to get inside their heads.
And the thing is it's not the athlete thing. Like let me Belichick is putting this team together, and it has nothing really to do with the mentality of the players, other than the ones that opted out.
Well, but I think it's his mentality, right? He's going to come in and try to win, and he believes that he is that brilliant of a defensive mind. I think Josh McDaniels believes he's very brilliant as well. Do the Patriots make the playoffs?
No.
Okay. Do the Cardinals make the playoffs?
Yes. They were one of my futures bets a couple weeks ago. I feel like now you're really I put them at +1. I've had them at +240 early in the year and then +104.
Do all 4 NFC West teams make the playoffs?
No. I think the Rams fall off.
Yeah, I know you do. I'm excited to watch this game tonight. Okay.
That doesn't mean I think the Rams are bad. I just think that they fall off a little bit.
The Dallas Cowboys are falling apart at the seams. To me, having Zeke Elliott on the field dramatically decreases their ability to move the football. He has been atrocious. And when I look at the Dallas Cowboys' demise, it all starts with Jerry Jones flying to Cabo to sign Zeke Elliott to a $90 million deal way back when, which seems like many, many moons ago. Trying to sign DeMarcus Lawrence. Dak Prescott goes unsigned. That whole priority list is a disaster. They are thin on the offensive line after the injuries, and they're atrocious. Are the Dallas Cowboys worse than every team but the New York Jets?
No, they're better than the Giants.
Think so?
Let me look at these.
I think they'd get
here.
run over by the Giants right now.
Wow.
I'll say this.
Teams.
If the Jets and the Cowboys played next week, what would the spread be?
Who's the quarterback? Is it this Danucci
well,
guy?
Let's imagine that Andy Dalton's head comes back together.
4.5. If Dallas is at home, it's 4.5.
Okay, I'll take the Jets.
By the way, our friends at Martingale on the Jets and the Atlanta Falcons are now even.
Yes,
basically. Well, except for the Falcons today. Fuck them.
The Cowboys are a disaster. Kudos to Ron Rivera. That team actually plays hard.
Yeah, maybe Washington will get over the 5 wins that we had them at.
Great day for that. Okay. Next quick hitter question for you. The Pittsburgh Steelers are a top 3 team in the NFL.
No.
What's the main reason?
Tennessee played horribly today, and they let them back in. They don't have – well, Deontay Johnson got hurt, which I think might really actually impact them.
Is it supposed to be serious?
Because
he's their number 1 wide receiver.
He was awesome today.
He is incredibly good.
It didn't look good. Big Ben also just makes the dumbest mistakes, right?
That was my reasoning. Okay.
Hopefully he's okay. But my biggest thing is Big Ben. I think Big Ben's not good enough to be a quarterback of a top 3 team anymore. I think Pittsburgh will be – Pittsburgh is clearly a playoff team, clearly a team to look at.
Deontay's supposed to be fine. Thank God, because that dude's electric.
Yeah, and they got 2 tight ends that are okay. They have, Smith-Schuster's fine, DeAndre Johnson's fine. Like they're okay, and their running backs are running backs. So but they let Tennessee back. They were up by 20, and they almost said that they could go to overtime.
Tennessee's offense, when they don't just hand it off to Derrick Henry and he runs in the middle.
They tried to get you that over prop to Henry twice.
They really tried, but he's
dude. It sucks. I mean, it's so easy to see. It's so easy to be like, oh, frick, they're in 2 tight ends, and now they're going to hand the ball off to this guy who has a log for hair, and now
I love Derrick Henry.
It takes a village to bring all those Titans players down, though. By AJ Brown's a hoss, and then but Pittsburgh. The other thing is, and as somebody who's run block before, like why? Look, what the hell are you doing not blocking TJ Watt on the backside of run plays? He's not this isn't Aaron Campman. This is
TJ Watt.
This is TJ Watt. You don't block him on the backside of run plays. He chases that big ass down.
All right, let me say this about Pittsburgh. They will win a tremendous amount of games by doing the 2 things they do best. Big Ben threw the ball in 2.27 seconds on average today. Was hardly touched.
Yeah.
And the Pittsburgh defense is going to be the first defense in the NFL to get pressure on 50+% of their plays this season. So controlling clean pockets matters.
Yeah.
And to me, that's why they should be a legit contender, especially because right now there's a lot of question marks about a lot of teams.
Yeah, well, that's what I think the real
and no
reason
teams have that. There's really no team right now where you go, okay, what's the silver bullet in the league? The silver bullet in the league is having Patrick Mahomes. Only one team has Patrick Mahomes, and no other team has anyone close. Real quick, last question here. You have to take one player for the rest of the season. Actually, sorry. One player rest of the season, Herbert or Burrow?
I'm still going to cling to my prior here a little bit, but I mean,
close.
Yeah.
Herbert looked awesome.
His grade was worse than. So, Herbert reminds me of early career Cam. With the running is there, but the completion percentage is,
Dude, he has a cannon.
Yeah.
And it's accurate so much more.
Would it surprise you if I told you, I got to take no plays out maybe, but would it surprise you if I told you that Burrow averaged more yards per attempt today than Herbert?
No. Did you see that game?
The Chargers game?
No, the Bengals game.
No. I watched along, of course, but I didn't watch as intently as I watched the
Dude,
Herbert
that
game.
was no one was playing defense.
But I think that's instructive, right? Like Herbert makes these throws that it's like, oh my goodness, right? And you're like, where is this coming from? But he also has these 10 intermediate plays where he's 2 of 13, and it's whereas Burrow I think is maybe a little bit more kind of consistent.
I think it's important to note this. Before the season started, we talked about the best rosters in the NFL. The Chargers have an incredible roster.
Yeah.
And the missing piece was the quarterback. The Bengals have an atrocious roster.
Yeah.
And Joe Burrow is a really good quarterback. So here's what I'll say about this. If I were taking it on any team, a random team, I'd take Joe Burrow. But I think Justin Herbert has a real shot to come out of the season as the guy that looks a lot better because of that supporting cast. And supporting cast matters.
It shows you that some of these things are not fixed. I mean, Steichen, the Chargers looked really bad on offense last year, looked really bad on offense in week 1, and sometimes these two things gel. And, that's an important thing.
Being able to hit big plays is the reason that the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL, and that's something that Justin Herbert has.
It's a good down payment to have, for sure.
Absolutely. Okay. We went for a little while there, so we're going to go quickly through the games coming up for this week, and we will start with, there are some really good games next week. We're going to start with what, in my opinion, is it the best one? Oh man, there's a couple really good ones. It ain't Dallas Philly, I'll tell you that.
I have a few perfect diagnoses of games here. Am I guesses?
Okay.
So can we start with Atlanta, Carolina?
No. That's
Thursday's game.
We're gonna go best ones first, as we always do, and then we'll get to the crappier games later. I have to make a few adjustments here though, because I don't know if this game actually belongs there anymore. I don't think it does. Okay, so in my opinion, there are two great games next week. The first, Pittsburgh at Baltimore. I have Baltimore as a 3.5 point favorite.
Okay, Baltimore. So Baltimore is at home. I said Baltimore would be laying 6, but I also wrote in my notes Pittsburgh loses to Tennessee. The look ahead was 5.5, which now in hindsight looks stupid. I
don't see one on Bet Chris, so I don't.
Well, is it because Lamar? It's not on Bet Chris. Let's look at Bet Online. They generally will hang numbers early.
My guy Jeff Sherman has Baltimore -6. Shit. So
yeah, it's -5 on Bet Online.
So this means I really like Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate Pittsburgh at all. My issue is we might have lost our opportunity already. Because I said Baltimore's -6 because I thought Pittsburgh was going to lose to Tennessee.
Okay, let me ask you this. Ngakoue now on the Ravens.
I don't think that makes a difference.
The Ravens blitz a shit ton.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just saying, their defense, you said Big Ben was the weak point. They have great coverage players.
Yeah.
At 6, I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I am ecstatic about it.
Yeah, I don't.
If I can get it at 5, I'm taking them as well.
It's 5. So let's do so.
I know Baltimore's coming off of a bye.
So Pitt +5. Okay. I have that one written down just in case we like it.
I mean, think about that. Who do you have more confidence in throwing the football, Lamar or Big Ben?
Big Ben, 100%. I mean, but the problem is, look, this is what I get worried about.
The problem is Pittsburgh blitzes, and if there's anyone that's going to elude your blitz and kill you, it's Lamar. I mean, he had a 140 pass rating against the blitz last year, I believe.
It's also a running game where the same thing I talked about with TJ Watt. If you leave him unblocked and he crashes down, like Lamar pulls it and it's 70 to the good. And the other thing here, which I think is immense, Baltimore is a smart team. Baltimore is at home. Baltimore's coming off a bye. Like, all those things I think are probably worth a point, right?
Yeah, and Pittsburgh just played the game of the year.
Yeah. Well, I don't think this is a letdown spot because I think Tennessee had the possibility of being a letdown for Pittsburgh, given that
Mike Tomlin.
Going into today's game, we had Baltimore 7.7 points better than an average team. We had Pittsburgh 3.8, so that's about a 4-point difference. So then you add maybe 1.5, 2 to home field advantage. That's where you get the 6.
You think there's 2 points home field advantage for Baltimore
off a bye?
But that's just the spot.
Yeah, okay, but Add 1.5 for home field.
Okay.
Add 0.5 point for a bye.
1.5 for home field. Okay.
And then that's where you're getting the 6 here. Now, how much do you adjust Pittsburgh up today? I don't know. If you maybe 0.5 point.
I mean, Tennessee's a legit team, and they beat.
Yeah, Tennessee's defense is horrible, though. That's what I'm a little worried about. All defenses are defenses. That's right.
Okay. I mean, I thought when I said 3.5, I thought it might have been 3.
Okay.
People love Pittsburgh, so I don't know. Okay.
No, that's what makes me worried a little bit about.
By the way, I guessed this before Pittsburgh played, but I figured it would be a close game. All right. This is another one that I think is funny. So Seattle hosts San Francisco next week. I have Seattle pre this game as a 4-point favorite.
I have the exact same as you, but here's the thing. I said San Francisco plays well against New England, and I wrote, quote, Seattle is Seattle, which meant that they could have fucked this game up tonight. And so the look ahead was 4.5. So
I'm guessing right now it's 3. People love to see Kyle Shanahan do great things.
Yeah, is it okay? So Seattle, it's not up there yet. Is it up on Bet Chris? It's not. So
okay, hold on.
You're pre.
Hold on. Let's see, 3.5 pre Sunday night.
I mean that's going to trend down. I mean, all the question marks are about San Fran, right?
Do you think it crosses 3? Okay,
I don't even think it moves off of 3.5. But here's my thing. All of the moves associated with this game were going to be as a result of what San Fran, because all the question marks were about San Fran, right?
Yep.
All of them. And San Fran answered them in the affirmative. Seattle played like Seattle played tonight. They just got a bunch of bad bounces. The penalty on KJ Wright with the hit in the back, right? Like that was a touchdown drive for Arizona. The leverage penalty, right? Like Seattle covers 3.5 and wins by 7, probably, if that field goal kick counts, right?
Yeah.
Like we know a priori that Seattle's good on offense and horseshit on defense.
So are you banking on that in this game?
Yes, and it's in Seattle. I mean, look, if I'm getting more than a field goal, I'm gonna grab some SF, I think. I don't see it anywhere, which is why I'm not super giddy about it.
At 3.5, man. I wanted. See, I texted you today during the San Francisco game, and I was like, "Damn you, man! Now I'm gonna jump right back in.
I know.
To the San Francisco, But here's the thing: Seattle's defense is Seattle's defense, which means that Kyle Shanahan is going to be ready to destroy it.
And do you really see?
And here's the thing: San Francisco, to their credit, as a coverage unit, is actually good now.
Yeah.
Because Jason Verrett is awesome. Manuel Mosley is playing well. Fred Warner's an absolute beast.
They played without both of their starting safeties today, and we're fine. They had that Charvarius Moore guy, and then their defensive line, I feel like, is fine. They make enough plays. Like I don't see Seattle just dragging them up and down the field.
Yeah.
So then it amounts to really how Jimmy G plays. If Jimmy G throws interceptions,
No, it doesn't. That's the great thing.
Like,
that's the great thing. I don't think it does. I don't think it matters how Jimmy G plays. I think it matters how Kyle Shanahan schemes.
yeah.
That's to me the San Francisco 40. That's how good Kyle Shanahan is. Like, I'm not actually worried about Jimmy G because
You're already
brilliant.
converted to okay. I love it.
Okay. This game was in the top group. It has been demoted. This is New England at Buffalo. I have Buffalo as a 3-point favorite.
I am the same as you. I said New England struggles against San Francisco was my take. Buffalo is -2.5 on the look ahead. They are
Now
4.
Now they struggled against. It's 4 and -115.
Yeah, they're.
Now they struggled against the Jets. So this is.
Okay, can we look at Josh Allen's grade? I haven't even looked at it because I don't care.
I think it was average.
Yeah, he didn't so he went 30, 43, 300 yards. Still a 300-yard game. 2 turnover-worthy plays, no big time throws.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Do you think this was a trap game? Because I don't. They had lost 2 straight. They needed to come out and dominate the Jets.
They got behind by 10.
They did not
scored 1 touchdown.
They did not dominate the Jets. I could make an argument that I am more concerned about Buffalo not dominating the Jets, one of the worst teams that we have seen in recent memory, than I am the New England Patriots losing to the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
As bad as it looked.
If
that
I
was a yawn there.
What's that?
That was a yawn there. See, I yawned last week. I'm juiced up because that was such a whirlwind.
We
for
thought we
Arizona.
had the Metcalf touchdown.
Thought I had the Metcalf touchdown.
We didn't have Seattle on Greenliner and picks or whatever, but we bet him though.
I had a brutal week in the Super Contest. Brutal.
But
Jacksonville,
dude, the Jacksonville game sucked because they had a fucking 7-point lead in the third quarter, and
just
then
a disaster. Okay, we're getting off track. At 3.
No,
sorry, at 4.
4.
At 4.
At 4, there's value on New England. Buffalo. Like, look, do you think Josh Allen's going to be able to fit it into tight windows against? Like, this isn't a team. Buffalo's fine, right? Right? I think they're well coached and all that kind of stuff. But they're not a team. I said this morning, like, the Patriots are good in the back 7. They're not good in the front 7. Mm-hmm. And Buffalo's not the team to kind of like fuck with your front 7 the way that San Francisco is. It's, drop back and throw. If there's a team that can cover, it's New England. This is a huge game for New England. I mean, as much as I say, like, look, they're tanking and everything, like, we have to get indications that they're not. But, like, if they're playing this game straight up.
Well, if Jared Stidham comes out to take the first snap, we'll know.
If they're playing this game straight up, they, I think, have some value at 4.
All right. Next up, we have the New Orleans Saints in Chicago to face the Chicago Bears. Our lock of the week tomorrow, +6 against the Rams. Let's see. Is there a line anywhere for this?
Bet Online has it at 2.5.
Oh, you know what I picked? 2.5.
I said 3. I said New Orleans is meh against Carolina, which is actually what happened.
Teddy Bridgewater boner is showing. Sorry. Children's show.
Sorry, they covered, though.
Okay. Right. They covered, as predicted.
So, Michael Thomas plays. Like, here's my question: can New Orleans actually move the football against Chicago's defense? Are they good enough?
I think Sean Payton is good enough. I think Alvin Kamara is good enough. What's the total on this game?
I think they can drag a bad. It's not showing.
Not showing.
I think they can drag a bad defense, but I don't think that they can. And it's actually -2.5, -127. So basically -3. I mean, we're not that far off.
Yeah. This is a game that I don't want to bet early, obviously.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. I don't know. I feel the home dog Chicago Bears feel a little plucky to me.
Yeah. I'd have to get a full 3 first, which might only happen if our Chicago Bears don't cover tomorrow, which is not what I want.
No, I need that one to come through. All right. The only bet that luckily, the bet that I had the most on was Denver, Kansas City over. And thankfully it got there.
Yeah. It was a point in time where it looked a little rough.
You know what looked a little rough? Drew Lock looked more than a little rough.
Luckily, you got defensive touchdowns and special teams touchdowns that really helped.
Holy God. All right. We have another decent game here, and that is your Minnesota Vikings going to Green Bay, coming off of a bye. I have Green Bay as a 7-point favorite.
I said 7.5. I said Green Bay handles Houston, which is what we had in our picks last week when we printed them up. We had that and Tampa Bay. It is 7, and it is juiced towards Minnesota. So
See
7
that,
minus.
Okay,
that's a bet that we have to.
So that's exactly what I had when I was writing this down. At first, I typed in 6.5, and then I go, if it's 6.5, I am auto betting Green Bay until it refuses my bet. And so then I went 7, and I go, could I get to 7.5? I go 7.5. Justin Jefferson, a little plucky.
They only won by 9 on opening day, despite like just absolutely dump trucking them.
Right.
But today they like let Houston get some run in this. That game pushed 55, even though it was not looking great, from the onset. But yeah. So I wrote down Green Bay as a pick. I like
that one.
I can't not. I mean, Minnesota sucks. I mean, they're. Ugh.
Correct. Okay, next up, Las Vegas in Cleveland. I'm not sure there are two more different places than Las Vegas and Cleveland, by the way.
No, one's called the Mistake on the Lake, and one city is full of mistakes. So I don't know. They're not that far apart.
Yeah, but what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in Cleveland, I feel like
stays on you.
Puts you 6 feet under.
Okay, so I had Cleveland. I said Cleveland beats Cincy. LV loses to TB, and I said Cleveland -3.5 was going to be my number.
Okay, I had Cleveland -3.
Cleveland -3 was the look ahead. It is 3. So I guess I like Cleveland.
You know what I am? Shrap.
You're Shrap. You're the soothsayer. Here's my thing. I don't know if I can bet it now with OBJ being out.
Oh, really? Okay. Welcome to the Monday morning hot take breakfast buffet. You've heard of the Ewing theory.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the Ewing theory. Odell Beckham Jr. and the Cleveland Browns together are not great. The Cleveland Browns without Odell Beckham Jr. are better than they are with. Now, it's not saying a whole ton because they're not great, but that allows. I always go back to this Kyle Shanahan quote. They were like, when he comes to San Francisco, a reporter asked him, "Do you need a Julio Jones?" type player. And he goes, no, I don't need a star number one wide receiver. I need a lot of wide receivers that can fit the roles that I need them to fit. And that's exactly what he has in San Francisco. Kevin Stefanski is that type, not quite Kyle Shanahan, but he's that type of guy, right? He is going to put players in a position to take advantage of their strengths. So Cleveland, better without Odell Beckham Jr. You're welcome.
Okay, but you're not going to lay 3 against LV. Plucky LV. LV now 3-3, still in the hunt for under 7.5.
And this is tough because I am all aboard the John Gruden bandwagon. Here's the tough thing. You know what the tough thing is for me? Kevin Stefanski is going to eat this defense alive. This defense is bad. So at 3, I'm staying away. All right. Next up, we have a couple more like decent games I'm putting in this group. And then we're getting to the real disaster. The Rams are introducing Tua to the world, so this makes this an interesting game. I have the Miami Dolphins getting 6.5 at home, and I have a feeling this is short.
Where do I have?
Dolphins are a good team.
Miami plus 3.5 is what I said.
Holy Lord.
I don't think much of LA.
Well, clearly. But you've never seen Tua play before.
Yeah. Where is this? Where's the line?
I mean,
here?
it probably
it's 3.5.
What? So I love Los Angeles here, I guess.
Short road favorites did great this week, except for Seattle.
Stop.
Our Seattle Seahawks. Can you really trust Goff?
Okay, but can you trust Tua?
Okay, here are some things.
After seeing Mac Jones?
Yeah, they're both good. Here's my question. Okay, I'm just spitballing here, okay?
The only way that this covers is Ryan Fitzpatrick comes back into the game.
No. Hear me out. Rams are playing on a Monday.
Uh-huh.
Coming back to play on a Sunday. Not just any Sunday. Playing on Sunday at 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
They're not staying out there for 2 weeks because they're home today. Miami is going to wear white, and they are going to put the LA Rams on the sunny side of the field wearing
blue,
dark blue.
It's going to be hot.
It's going to be hot.
Humid.
There's a number of things that I think make this like, a spot thing. Okay. And here's the last thing I'll say. So we have Miami as 1 point worse than the average team on a neutral field. We have LA as 2.4 points better than the average team on a neutral field. So that 3.4 points difference, if you throw minimal home field in there, that number makes sense.
Yeah.
So that would be my take is.
Okay. I can get on board with that.
Which means I just think we don't like it, right? Like, don't bet the Rams because it's kind of a.
Where would
So say you downgrade Tua by
This isn't moving to 3. Only way it's moving is the other way.
But there's really no value in getting, as we saw tonight. There's really no value in got to grab that 3.5.
Right. No, I agree. I was just thinking.
So if you're a Dolphins fan, don't bet it now. If you want to bet the Dolphins,
if you're a Dolphins fan, don't bet this game.
Or hang tight and wait until it gets to 4.5.
Next game, Indianapolis at Detroit. I have this as what is certainly going to be the wrong line, but I have this as a pick.
Detroit. Ooh, I'm wrong too. I have Detroit as +3. I said Indy on a bye. Detroit plays fine against Atlanta. Fine is a roundabout way. On average, they were fine.
Stafford was awesome.
Yeah. No, he's played extremely well since Kenny Golladay. Actually, let's look at this. His grade since Kenny Golladay has returned, which is week 3.
Okay, while you are looking that up, here's what I have to say. I do not think the Indianapolis Colts are very good. The Detroit Lions, everyone thinks have been an absolute atrocity. And what I was going to point out is that with Kenny Golladay, they're not an absolute atrocity. The biggest atrocity for the Detroit Lions is that their coach decides to run the ball despite Matthew Stafford lighting it up.
Peterson. I bet an enormous amount of money.
At least run it with DeAndre Swift. At least.
I bet an enormous amount of money on Adrian Peterson's under today because I heard the Swift news, and they gave Peterson like the workload today, and he still went under. That's how freaking bad he is. Stafford, since Golladay came on the scene in week 3, is 6th in the NFL in average depth of target, and he is like 11th in yards per attempt. He's been a lot better. The first 2 weeks were kind of garbage without Golladay. I think they're sort of reverting back. And look, they're 3-1 since they started out 0-2.
And Swift got 45% of the snap share. Shout out to Tantillo, just on one right now.
Yeah.
Had to get on Tantillo. I was like, buddy, you're not with us here in spirit, in mind, and body.
Yeah. The spread on this game is 2.5. Colts to lay the Colts, though, is -120. So you could probably get a 3 here at some point.
Are you drinking coffee in there?
It's water.
Okay. Last week I had coffee, and you listened to the podcast back, and you're like, it was kind of a disaster. The coffee didn't help me. It kept me sort of awake, but it just made me delirious.
I just thought I thought the whole like Brady Goff thing was like you being ornery, or when I tried to steer us away from Tampa. Now I'm glad I didn't, and my biggest thing was like trying to come around. I think I was half right. I said, look, the Patriots, either Patriots or Brady suck, but one of those things has to be true. And you rightfully said it wasn't Brady. Brady's awesome. Bet Tampa. But then at the same time, I tried to come back and say, well, okay, what the hell happened to the Patriots? Which is like, what happened to the Patriots is that they have no weapons and they can't score, and which is also what we saw. So I think we teased out the truth. It was a little weird though on the way way there.
Look, things that happen at 1 a.m. are not going to be not weird. By the way, great song, Little Weapon. If you haven't listened to it, go peep it. It's awesome. All right. So Detroit getting 3.
2.5, 3. It's like a 2.5 -120 or 3 -120 if you're.
I won't bet Detroit. I can't bet Patricia. Patricia's just.
Well, not Reich off of a bye is probably something I'm a little worried about.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, this game makes the decent game slate because of Joe Burrow.
Tennessee at Cincy.
Yep. I have Cincy getting 6.5.
I have Cincy getting 6. The look ahead was Cincy getting only 4 at home, and Cincy's getting 4.5, which I feel like this has to go on our list this week.
I mean, what? Does anyone watch?
Total on the game 54.5.
People don't watch. Over.
All right.
Over. Now. Immediately. That is the one. Because Joe Burrow could sneak through the back door. The over is an absolute stone cold lock.
Their defense. I like Tennessee more, though. I think Tennessee wins this game 45-3. I'm just kidding. Not 3. But like name the points that Tennessee's going to score.
They're going to feed Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's going to re-enter the MVP race after this game.
It's going to take a village.
I flipped on Twitter this morning and saw like 6 different posts about, is Derrick Henry the MVP? And I almost had an aneurysm because he's not even the best running back in the league. That's Alvin Kamara. How dare you besmirch the name of Alvin Kamara? First of his name.
Yeah.
Absolute stud. Alvin Kamara is the best running back in the NFL, and it is not particularly close. And he looks like it as well. Man has style. Dude plays with a diamond-studded grill and shreds people left and right. You've got to be kidding me. Okay, and that was my Alvin Kamara piece. I love Tennessee in this game, but I love the over more. Okay, these games are all absolutely terrible, and they aren't even the worst game of the year, which is coming up. The New York Jets at the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, I saw the look headline already, but this is what I guessed, and I think I am correct in this statement. I have Kansas City as a 16-point favorite. What did you have them as?
21.5. I just wrote the Jets suck in my parenthetical.
Okay. It is what, 20.5?
Is it? Yeah, 20.5. But the Jets are the side. that people like so far, minus 115.
I mean, yes, I will take the Jets getting 20.5.
Total on game 48.
Dude, 20.5 is so much. It's so much.
I think we're responding a little bit too much to the Jets.
The Jets
almost
are clearly
not covering.
trying. You don't think the Jets are going to know that they're a 20-point underdog in this freaking game? Also, I would like to say this about the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, they won that game convincingly. They won that game convincingly because Drew Lock was an abomination. Clearly had never seen snow before. It wasn't as if the Chiefs were, a well-oiled machine on offense today. And not that they won't be against the Jets.
Chad Henne, sir, had a touchdown run.
I know.
Sure, but here's my thing.
Are you taking the Chiefs minus 20.5?
This is like Ohio State, Nebraska. Okay.
No.
Yes,
I don't have time for this. It's fucking 1:15 a.m., Eric.
Dude, let's stop talking about the Jets. Dude, you said all these things about Drew Lock, and I want to be like, yes, and Darnold is
better than Drew Lock.
Yeah, but that team is, dude. Darnold is throwing to what? Denzel Mims' first game. Oh. And Jamison Crowder.
Maybe he's back. Brashad Perryman.
They're handing the ball to
weaponry.
They're handing the ball to Frank Gore,
who looked spry today.
He did look spry, but then the wheels are going to stop. Adam Gase is the head coach of the Jets.
20.5 is a lot of points.
I'm not saying bet the Chiefs. I'm saying bet the Chiefs.
Is this another steak dinner? Are we doing this? I can't do it on the Jets.
Can't do it. Kansas City, dude. Kansas City's gonna be up 28-0 at the end of the first quarter, and you're gonna be like,
"Can we save that clip?" I need that clip. You better have that clip. If somehow Sam Darnold is up like 7-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Well, I will say this: the last time the Chiefs were this big a favorite, 2018, they were playing a similarly bad Arizona Cardinals team.
Favorites of 20 or more are like 1-7 over the past 6 years.
When they had the Arizona Cardinals in Week 10 of 2018 at home, they were 16.5-point favorites and didn't cover that. So
I'm telling you,
the Jets are here. My problem is Mahomes. Mahomes makes you cover the spread against him 12 times in a game.
They have played not great against bad competition. Chad Henne's going to be in this game in the second quarter. And Sam Darnold sneaked through the back door. I like the Jets plus 20.5, man. That's a ton of points. That's so many freaking points.
I know that the math is probably going to like the Jets. So
yes.
I don't want to write up the Jets.
Okay. Atlanta, Carolina. I have this as a pick. I think this is going to be a weird, wonky, crazy game.
I said Carolina -3. Carolina plays well against New Orleans, and quote, Atlanta is Atlanta. And that Atlanta was Atlanta today.
Oh, yeah.
It is 3.
Wow.
A little bit. People still like the Falcons. Fuck, they're so bad.
Wait. It's 3?
It's 3.
The Falcons are...
No, Carolina's favored by 3.
You scared me.
But 3 minus 115 to Atlanta.
Okay. I mean...
Or grabbing the value.
Can I just say this? I just still don't think Carolina's good.
No, they're not. But they're better than they do the expected thing better than the Falcons do.
Joe Brady's great. Joe Brady coaching against the team he will be coaching next year potentially. Man, Atlanta doesn't. There's no way Atlanta ends up with Joe Brady. They're not that shrewd.
They're they're fine. They'll be fine.
The enemy's going to go to Houston. Joe Brady is going to
the Jets
with Trevor.
Yep.
Be kind of baller.
Well, or here's one. Here's sneaky. Joe Brady is going to rent out an apartment.
Right down here?
Right down here.
Yeah, I've got an apartment for you, Joe Brady. I think that's a great call. That is a great call. If Joe Brady is available and they know that, Zach Taylor should be going to UC.
We saw it tonight. Sometimes, look, you think Steve Keim's job is in jeopardy anymore?
No.
Why?
Because he has a quarterback.
Because he had the balls to fire Steve Wilkes and get rid of
Sure.
You know.
Yes, but it's Murray, not Kingsbury.
Sure, but that was the point, though.
Agreed.
Like he was able to look at Josh Rosen and say, not it.
I agree.
And then
I agree with that 100%. Good point.
and so for Cincinnati, right, like, Zach Taylor already, there's already like reports that there are issues. Like, and I'm not saying he's terrible. I'm just saying, like, if they have, like, there's some evidence. Like, look, Dallas might have to make this decision too. Arizona made this decision. Like, the Jets are only a year and a half into Gase. They're very likely going to make.
Are you going to take Carolina -3?
No.
Are you going to take Atlanta +3?
No, absolutely not.
Agreed.
The
right.
total on this game is 51. I think that's a little short, but Atlanta was going to try to run Todd up the middle all game.
Oh my God.
So
I would like someone to put together a list of things that are easier to do than Todd Gurley to get around the edge, just as a fun entirety of Monday project. Climbing Mount Everest. All right, the second next game, Tampa Bay in New York to play the Giants. I have the Giants as a 6.5-point underdog.
I said Giants +10. I said Tampa Bay beats LV. It is.
I'm probably way
10.
short. Jesus.
That's Monday next week.
Mm-hmm.
So the Giants get not only the Thursday to Sunday boost, but they get the Sunday to Monday boost.
Very serious question. Do you think Joe Judge has the book on Brady?
Total on this game 47. I feel like Daniel the number of points in this game is going to take the route of Daniel Jones, which is about 80% of the way there, and fall over.
Who does Tampa Bay have after this game?
Do they have a bye? Tampa Bay Bucks.
Man, I was way
they have
off on
Saints
this
at home.
Letdown spot.
And Saints at home.
Now, they will theoretically have no, they will not have Antonio Brown for this game, right? He can't play until week 9.
Why? Is he suspended?
I don't think he can. He's right. Wasn't it 8-game suspension?
Oh, yeah, probably then. Yeah.
We'll let
The
down spot here.
COVID protocol, he's fine to play a la Le'Veon Bell, but
I like the New York Giants getting 10.
okay, I don't.
Okay. All right.
I think the Giants' spot to cover was last Thursday, which
All
they
right.
did.
We now move on to what is the worst game in the history of all games.
Stop.
I would rather watch you play your daughters in football. Very entertaining for 4 hours. I would rather watch Austin dress himself and try to put together an outfit.
I would rather watch Austin spit game at Gala.
I would rather watch Mike Renner spit game at Gala Park. You could list a bazillion things. I would rather spend the evening in a Skyline Chili watching something other than this and not eating Skyline Chili. The Dallas Cowboys are going to Philadelphia to play the Philadelphia Eagles. This game is utter dog shit.
Speaking of Renner, here's what we do. It worked this week.
This game's on Sunday night.
No. Maybe. What we have to do is we have to get Renner to take out one of the Philadelphia offensive linemen. Get one of them COVID.
Get the game moved.
Get the game moved to 4 o'clock. Yes. That way.
I suggested this earlier. The NFL should consider introducing a couple false positives just like on Sunday morning.
Thank you. Right? Look, Tampa Bay LV was fine. It went off without a hitch.
Out.
Sam Young was a fine replacement right tackle. Honestly, is there a game on this slate that you would rather have?
Jets, Kansas City, I'd be way more intrigued by. It's not even close.
I mean, look.
Ben DiNucci.
Here's the thing.
His first name?
I'm going to ask you, because I know you do the majority of the prep for Sunday Night Football. And when I heard a little bit earlier, but not as early as you, that this was going to happen this week, and I thought to myself, the anger sharks are swimming in Georgia's head, because not only is former 49er Trent Brown the one who's getting this, this to happen. But it obviously like turned your week around
A little bit, yeah.
Would you be willing to go through that to get this game off of Sunday Night Football?
I'd do it, and luckily I have a couple of guys, Ben Lindsay, Bill Boynton, who really helped me out with that, and I'm sure they would too. Every single night of the week, I do it 5 times.
Would you rather? I'd rather have.
Did you see Trent Brown's tattoo?
No.
Trent Brown has a tattoo on his bicep of like 3 chicks sucking him off.
No.
Yes. It's the worst tattoo I've ever seen.
Does it say underneath how I got COVID?
Our boy Barstool Big Cat identified this because he's a hawk. And it is the worst tattoo I've ever seen. It's worse than no regrets on the chest plate. It's the worst tattoo I've ever seen. It's not even like artfully done. It's like stick figures. And like one of the chicks has like his number It's the worst tattoo I've ever seen.
Well, no, it's not, because Rex Ryan has Mark Sanchez tattooed
on his foot?
On his foot or something like that. But it's close.
He has Mark Sanchez's foot tattooed on his...
So any of these games I'd rather have.
Yes, any of them. I have Philly favored by 6.5.
I'm an idiot because I said Philly -3. I put Dallas kills Washington, which is obviously the dumbest fucking thing.
This podcast has been...
I was at a Washington station this week. I said Kyle Allen can't throw the ball over 10 yards in the air. And then I forgot to realize
Do you think you're going to go back on that stage?
that Trayvon Diggs is the biggest slump buster in the history of defensive backs.
It almost looks like when Trayvon Diggs is backpedaling that someone comes down from heaven and nails his feet into the ground.
Is there value on Dallas?
Okay.
At 7.5.
Thank you guys for tuning into the podcast. It is now 1:25 a.m. We love you. We thank you. We're going to go.
Did we miss a game we missed, though?
What?
Chargers versus Broncos.
Yes. Damn it. How did I? Oh, I must have deleted it while I was moving shit around. Damn it. I don't even know what I guessed on this. I have... okay, I'll just guess here. I think Denver will be favored by 1.5.
They're underdogs by 1.5.
Ooh.
I said nothing happened. I said meh. No, I said they would be 1 point dogs. They are 1.5 point dogs because Herbert
balled out
today. I don't care for this game. Well, here's one. Okay, let me look.
Dude, I was just about to
end this.
Yeah.
Okay, so next Sunday, the weather in Denver is going to be 64 with 6-mile-an-hour winds. The total on this game is 44 and a half. No, 44 and a half. I kind of like the over in that game.
Let's end the podcast on this. Abso-fucking-lutely. Enjoy your Monday. We'll talk to you guys Wednesday night. Peace out.
Thanks for watching the PFF YouTube channel. And if you want to subscribe, all you have to do is push the button. Don't forget everything you get. A little fantasy, push the button. A little green line for the gambling aspects of the game, push the button. College football, push the button. The YouTube channel from PFF.